Hi, so following a customer's question or request to show them how we can revert back to a previous revision inside Vault and how we can maybe roll back a lifecycle state, a lifecycle change within our Vault environment. So I decided to create this quick recording to show how this is done in the latest 2017 version of Vault Professional. So I'm going to use this assembly as an example, and we can see the historical trace of this assembly. We have 3 previously released versions, A, B, and C. And there's a couple of ways we can go about reverting back to a previous revision, and that's depending on the scenario that we have. And the first scenario is, let's say that there has been an engineering change order that has been initiated, and we need to take action and make some changes to the design. Now, I'm not going to create an ECO, but within the ECO, one of the states would be that we would have to change our assembly from released state back into work in progress so that the engineers or the designers can start making the change. So I'm going to manually do that in this case. And what Vault has effectively done, because we changed from release to work in progress, it has created a new milestone in our assembly. So we have new revision, revision D. And as normal, I would fire up my assembly. I would check the assembly out and start making some changes. Now, I'm not going to go into much depth. I'm just going to make some changes, very minimal changes, that just to show you what the process is. Not really worried what these changes might be. So I might change the length of that, maybe change the body color here to something different. Let's go to something green. Vault is interacting, asking me to check the files out as I make the change. If I switch to my Vault browser here, you can see all the files that have been created. I'm going to update and save my assembly. And go ahead and check the files in. Maybe I want to put some reasonable comments. I can do that. So that was the change that I had to make as part of the ECO. And if we switch back to our Vault Explorer here, and we refresh our state, we can see now that there is a new revision D with all the changes being reflected inside Vault. Now, meanwhile, this engineering change order has actually been rejected. So let's say it has actually been rejected. This can happen enough times in the design world, so we need to have a flexible and easy way to revert back to our previous revision and our previous lifecycle state. So within the new version of Vault, we can actually either individually pick a file, and we go under Actions, and we can see Rollback Lifecycle State Change. I can do that for multiple files as well. So let's go into the action here. Rollback Lifecycle State. Vault is warning us that we're about to change the state from work in progress to released, and the revision is going to be removed. I'm going to accept that. And if I click on my top level assembly, you can see I am back to having just the A, B, and C revision in my history, which is great. And if I open up this file, you can see it's back to revision C. Switch back to the Vault. Very easily I can do that from within the Vault environment. Okay, so that was one scenario. So the other case, I guess, would be if I wanted to go back to a previous version of my design altogether, whether that is because at a later stage of this stage of my design, I've realized that there's a few mistakes, something that I could have designed better, and I want to go back to the drawing board, for example. So in this case, let's try and revert back to revision A of my design. So how can we do that? So first of all, again, because I'm in a released state, I need to change. I could just highlight the top one here and say change state. That will pick up all the children assemblies. I want to change that to work in progress. Okay, so that's now changed into work in progress, and it has effectively created the version D of my assembly. Now I'm going to open this file up inside Inventor, but when I'm not going to check this file out. I just want to open it up inside Inventor and see what we can do from here. If I switch to my Vault browser, this is version D. But what I can do in here is I can maybe even highlight all of them and say I want to get a previous revision of this file. Okay, so let's just highlight the top one, get a particular revision. So in here I've got a list of the previous revisions, whether they were, so we've got the option whether this is going to be non-released biased or released biased, and I can maybe want to switch to my revision A and replace my current data with the data that I had when revision A was first released. And you can see the model updating. I've got the changes, I've got everything changed back into revision A. And what I can do is I can highlight all of them, and all my files in here in this question, I want to say I want to revert to latest. It's telling me that it's going to check the assembly out. That's fine with me. I'm going to update the properties. So now I've got it checked out. I've got revision A in my working space folder from Vault, and I want to check that. I want to save the changes as they are at the moment. You can see as soon as I click save, it will change, and I want to check all these files back in. I'm going to say reverted back to revision A. Okay, so once that's complete, I have effectively restored revision A as my latest design inside Vault, and you can see that the changes have taken place inside my CAD environment. And also if I refresh here, you can see again the historical milestones of my design. So we started from A, B, C, version C, and then version D is basically has been reverted back to my initial design.